Hey, peace and harmony here with you today. How to go vegetarian. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and what's helped me really to have a different lifestyle and a different diet. And that has really changed my life and my energy level, and I would say that is absolutely going vegetarian. I'll give you a little bit about my background. I was raised in a family with a very aggressive mother, very critical, very judgmental, really believed in eating a lot of steak, a lot of red meat, some pork, chicken, but definitely a lot of red meat. And it was really kind of, I think it was meant to kind of keep us healthy, or grow our bodies or our brains as children, but it was not a very nurturing sort of diet. A lot of the food, as you might know, with red meat, it does not digest very well. It's difficult for the body to break down. And of course it's good for the blood and things of that nature, but it's not a very good in excess, or at least on a daily or even a weekly basis. And I just felt that the preparation was done in a lot of hostility. And when you look at really the killing and slaughtering of animals, there's an act of aggression in that very feat as well. And when I got to college, I began to study Mahatma Gandhi, his experiments with truth. And in that book, he talks about ahimsa, which is if I'm checking it right, the word's right, it's cessation of suffering, or the cycle of suffering. And he talks about, as a social leader, passive resistance or nonviolence, but also how this incorporated in his life. I think it's the book, if you want to check it out, it's called My Experiments with Truth, was the book that we read. And it talks about some of the more aggressive emotions and how they tend to get us in trouble in life. And something like aggression or violence can be caused in our diet, and we tend to ingest these when we ingest the meats and things of that nature. So he experimented with a vegetarian diet, and in fact in India, oftentimes the children are schooled in the teachings of Gandhi by living like Gandhi. And we actually did an experiment and a paper like that in my college course. After reading this book, we had to live like Gandhi and then write a paper on it. And in that book, I decided to, in his teachings, I decided to follow a lot of his philosophy in terms of his diet. He definitely experimented with diet and how they affect his sense of well-being. And he's, I think, one of the first originators of the correlation of diet and how it impacts our well-being. He experimented with raw and unraw nuts, with different spices, with the impact of different fruits, different meats, and how some of these, especially a lot of meat in the diet, tends to increase aggression, hostility, and lust, which can be carnal sins essentially, and cause a lot of issues in your life and a lot of problems. So I decided to try that, and also give up, abstain things like sugar, alcohol, and follow his diet. And you can see it more specifically in his book. But that really correlated and really connected with me, and I decided to stick with it really for the rest of my life. So in terms of finding your philosophy on how to go vegetarian, you're going to have to kind of, some people do it for health, some do it for a sense of philosophy or connection to, a larger global crisis in terms of availability of food. There's a connection there. It's actually very interesting. It takes I believe 16 pounds of grass and